Folks, let's get started. Welcome everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar. It's me, Anmol, your host for today's session. In this webinar, we're going to talk about how to build products that thrive in the age of AI. So let's get started. All right, so here's today's agenda. In today's agenda, I'm going to talk about three key takeaways. The very first one will be how you can turn fears into opportunities. Second, I'm going to talk about how to build products using AI, what goes in and out of different tech products that you and me both have experienced, and lastly, how you can build user-centric AI products. At the end, I'll summarize and I'll share some more bonus tips with real-life product management examples. All right, so let's dive deep into it. Before we dive deep into it, let me just quickly share a little bit more about myself. I'm a technical product leader at Amazon, and I bring along 10 years of product management experience while working for different organizations in different shapes, size, and capacities. I started my career as a consultant for EY, then worked on my own startup in Menlo Park, connected with multiple folks at HP, worked there for a few years in Palo Alto, and then moved to Seattle for Amazon, AWS, and now currently working for Amazon Business. Over a period of time, I've influenced multiple launches, mentored, learned, and experienced the chain of thoughts of different product management styles. I'm also the founder of Product Sauce, which I'll briefly talk about in the later stages of the webinar. My domain has been building data platforms, applied AI, ML, and AI engineering products. And lastly, I've been born and raised in the capital of India, which is New Delhi. Starting with a quick disclaimer, all the experiences that I'm being sharing in this particular webinar are just for educational purposes. Most of the content is my own experience or publicly available resources. All right, let's dive right into it. In this chapter, I'm going to cover common fears that I have experienced as a product manager, and also the opportunities that I feel AI has created in the field. And later, I'll share my personal experience around building AI products from turning these fears into opportunities. All right, so let's get started. A major concern was and still is that AI will replace human jobs, especially those that are manual or routine. While it's true that AI will automate repetitive tasks, it will also create new roles and provide people with more time to focus on higher value and creative work. And we have already seen these examples in real life. A very recent example can be how Teslas can drive themselves out of the factories to their designated loading docks without any human intervention. So yes, we may see a shift in the industry, but it will create more jobs which demand different skill sets to fine-tune these automated systems. Now, the second fear that I actually had was, will AI take away the human touch in making interactions feel more mechanical and disconnected? As an example, I called a rental company a few years back to update few things about my reservation. And I kid you not, it took me 2 to 4 attempts over a span of 24 hours to get in touch with a human who could actually change very simple things in my reservation. I called the same company recently, where now I could see the approach was slightly different. I could see that the representative had enough data, probably driven by AI insights, to actually make a better customer experience. So from a fear, which I could not connect with a human representative to do a very small task such as booking and changing and updating my reservation, this time I could be more specific and have a very delightful customer experience within seconds. So the way these customer support tools are also adopting AI is changing. Now, lastly, I'll talk about some ethical and bias concerns. This one I personally experienced myself, where a lot of investors in different startups are also fearing that AI systems being biased in their decision making or making unfair decisions. So I clearly remember when I was working as a tech advisor for a young startup, which was doing some interesting work around helping manufacturing and production industries find the right talent at scale. At that time, an engineer who built an AI model, that model actually skimmed through millions of resumes and give you a list of highly qualified candidates to find the right talent in the matter of seconds. However, one problem with the results that we discovered during hyperparameter testing was that the model was actually biased to a specific cohort of user personas, which was dominated in the training data set. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about this in later stages of the webinar and how ethically we as product managers can build frameworks to mitigate these risks. Now let's move on to the other side of the coin, which is opportunities that AI has created. Now, the very first thing that stuck to my mind, and it's practically very helpful, is the enhanced accessibility. A good example of this can be how Microsoft Teams is using AI to empower users by actually giving them audiences a real-time transcription and live captions. It generates intelligent recaps, meeting summaries. It helps you to label those things, identify speakers, and one thing that blows away my mind is it does sentiment analysis and engages to see how different participants in the journey of a meeting are actually involved. And on top of that, it helps you search all the meeting details with the help of simple search bars and also help you recap and identify action items. Now, as a product manager, this has saved my life because a lot of times your engineering teams are global and are sitting at different time zones. You don't want your engineer to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning and attend a sprint session where just to get few action items. Microsoft Teams is helping you to converge those things and helping you to be more accessible. Second opportunity, which was a very interesting experience. Last year, I got a chance to sit in my very first Waymo ride in San Francisco. And it was an amazing experience to see how perception, prediction, and planning comes to life. It is very similar to how our human brain comprehends. What the car does, it uses the technology of LiDAR, radar, and other cameras around it to do a very simple first step of human brain, which is perception. It perceives our surroundings nearby. Then, second step that it does, it predicts the surroundings behavior, which is how things change, how people on the road or the other cars may come and intersect. And lastly, based on these signals, it plans your best right action. Isn't that interesting? Right? Can you think about the same technology or practice being happening before the birth of AI? Probably not. Now, third thing that I want to talk as an opportunity is AI-driven advertising. Now, AI-driven advertising, this is my current space that I'm working on in the MarTech for Amazon Business. I could clearly see a way to reach a customer with the help of more personalized messaging, which in traditional times was printing flyers or putting billboards. Now, with the help of printing flyers and billboards, I'm not able to see how many, for example, if I have a coffee shop, how many coffee lovers are actually getting that footprint. But now, with the help of these directed techniques, I can personalize that message. I can send out timings on when and whom to reach. For example, if a user in the neighborhood searches for best espressos, we can target the similar amount of users to create that curated experience and delight them with a product which is already around in the market, just lacks awareness, right? Now, I'll move on to sharing a personal insight, which I'll try to demonstrate a common fear which turned into an opportunity. Now, I clearly remember during the initial stages when the Gen AI models were coming in, a couple of product managers in my team came and reached out to me and said that, hey, product management job is going to go away because these generative AI models can predict and write very detailed PRDs. What I am going to do as a product manager? I pondered for that thought for a second. Now, this is me a few weeks later, standing in front of my first physical store launch in Colorado downtown, where I was spearheading the launch of Amazon One, the biometrics palm reader, into a very niche segment. As a single-threaded leader for go-to-market of this particular product, I worked on defining the business model, the pricing strategy behind it, the marketing strategy behind it, did my user research, did my competitor research, also defined the production operations, how to get this device from warehouses to the particular store. I wrote SOPs for procurement, delivery, and not to forget, yet alone I was doing a lot of product development of how this device is actually going to come in. So if you hover a palm, will it open a door for you or will it register a payment? On top of this, I was also involved in failure analysis, testing of the product, integrations, PR, legal, and the list goes on and on. For that second, I pondered. I was able to achieve all of this for a very strategic launch, which was due in 45 days. Now imagine, can AI truly replace humans from what we do today? Maybe to some extent, right? Sure, Gen AI can help me draft great PRDs, right? Within seconds. It could help me navigate through complexities of launching new technology in a very highly regulated market. But could it negotiate contracts for me? Could it align stakeholders? Could it make tough trade-offs when things don't go as planned? I stood in front of that store and I thought about countless meetings, strategy pivots, and late night problem solving sessions with my developers when my device was connected but not coming up as an interface in the payment side. Has AI played a good role in coming along that journey? Maybe yes. It accelerated my research. It streamlined my operations. It even optimized my customer insights on whom to target. But at its core, it was a lot of human intuition, leadership, and cross-functional collaboration that made that happen. All right, this helps me pivot to my next topic, which is how to build these products, right? But before we dive deep into how, I want to give you product managers a flavor of what these AI products are. So let's dive deep in. I'm pretty sure I'm going to share maybe a list of few examples, and I can highly guarantee that most of the consumers or people who are attending this webinar might see it very relatable, but might not knew how it actually works. Now let's start with the very first one, which is the elephant in the house, right? Generative AI. Now what generative AI does, it uses transformer-based deep learning model, which depending upon your use case can be different types. It can be a conversational AI. It can be an image or video generation model. It can be a speech or an audio model. It can be a code generation model. Or it can be a multinodal model which takes text, audio, images, and gives you the right output. Gemini is a good example for that. Now, I'll break it down into what's the product sauce behind it, which in very simple terms is nothing but the secret of how this product actually works. If I put it in a very single and simple thread, you can think about it as an advanced autocomplete. It studies billions of text, images, and audio examples and learns to generate the new content. For example, if you ask ChatGPT to write a poem, it predicts and generates words based on how a poem usually is structured. Which brings me to my next tech, which is predictive AI. Now, predictive AI uses time series analysis, regression models, and neural network to predict the trends based on past and real-time data. Now, break it down, right? The product source behind it is very simple. It looks at past patterns to predict the outcome. Example, Google Maps. Now, Google Maps predicts your arrival time based on the past traffic patterns and real-time road conditions. Let's talk about more, which is personalization AI. Now, what personalization AI does, it uses collaborative filtering, neural network, and reinforced learnings to recommend content. Again, breaking the product source down, it tracks what you watch, you buy, you listen to find patterns and suggest things you like. Example, Netflix. Netflix suggests based on your watch history and compares it with the people who have similar interests. Another example of AI used in common products can be healthcare and biotech. Now, what it does, it uses deep learning, bioinformatics AI, and computer vision for medical image analysis. What it does as a product source behind it is it studies health data to detect diseases or predict medical issues, very similar to how a doctor with a specialty would do it. As an example, Apple Watch. Apple Watch today can detect your irregular heartbeats and warn you in case of a serious health condition. Another example, last year I got a chance, an opportunity to be at Dreamforce, where all Dreamforce was talking about is AI agents and chatbots. Now, how that works, right? It actually uses the natural language processing, NLP, speech recognition, and large learning language models, LLMs. Breaking the product source, it does nothing but it uses speech, text to understand the answers, questions, like a smart AI assistant would do. For example, if you ask Alexa what the weather is like, what it will do, it will convert the speech into some text. It will look up the weather and then it will speak you that answer back. Another example is fraud detection AI. Now, fraud detection AI uses anomaly detection, machine learning, algorithms, and neural network. Breaking the product source, what it does, it looks at the transactions and fraud data to find unusual activities. Just like how a bank would notice someone is using a credit card in another country. Real life example, PayPal fraud detection system. How many times when you're shopping in a new country, you might have seen that you get a notification to double verify you, whether it's you or not. How is this happening? Some AI system is detecting that tech behind it to see an anomaly in the user behavior, flags it up, and it triggers an API call for making sure that you are actually the right person who is making the right decision at that particular time. All right, so the next topic I'll talk about is computer vision AI. It uses convolutional neural networks and object detection models. The product source behind it scans the image, video to recognize patterns, very similar to how a human brain would identify faces and objects. An example can be your phone unlocks with face IDs because AI detects a unique feature of your face and matches that with the sorted data. This is computer vision is what we used in my previous product, which was Amazon One, just to do hand recognitions. Now, this summarizes to my last, but not the least, there are multiple other use cases of AI. Another commonly used is robotics and autonomous systems AI. Now, these systems actually use reinforced learning. They have sensor fusion, computer vision, and motion planning algorithms. Breaking the product source down, it does nothing but machine senses the environment and makes the decision. A common example can be Roomba in your house, where Roomba vacuums actually scans the room first. It detects the furniture and changes the direction without hitting anything. Now, let's move on to my next section of how these products come to life and what takes to build these AI products, which is 0 to 1 of these AI products. It starts with understanding a clear concept about your problem statement. You, as product managers, have to understand and ask yourself, is this something that people are actually going to need? What pain point are you trying to address? Focus on the problem where AI can add significant value. The reason I shared these examples earlier was to help you understand that what are the practicalities and the tech that you can use to identify the similar problems which can be solved through AI. The second step in building the 0 to 1 products is building the right data foundation. This starts by identifying what data you need, how to gather it, and ensure it's clean and relevant and comprehensive. The third step in the process is model selection and development. It starts with simpler models like decision trees, and then you can move up to more complex models like neural networks, depending on your use case. Train these models with the help of different data and different approaches to find which is the best one for you. Fourth is the AI model evaluation and inference. In this step, you validate your model on a real life problem or a real world data to see how it performs outside of the training set. So you conduct alpha beta tests, you do product feedback sessions, and you try to continuously see and refine your models to optimize performance. And lastly, how can you scale responsibly and ethically? As my experience, AI product development is a it's a never ending journey. What it takes is you to be flexible to see what's working for you because your customer signals behavior can change. And the model which was predicting 100%, 80% accuracy, maybe 6 months down the line, it may not give that level of confidence and can create a suboptimal customer experience. Now, I'll try to explain this 0 to 1 concept with a simple example. Now, imagine you're building a personalized AI coach for a fitness app that helps people to stay motivated and achieve their workout goals. Now, the problem here is very clear that people often fail to stick to routines, right? Now, for example, you have a clear understanding of your problem statement. How do you build it? You start by building a personalized coach which actually needs data like user activity logs, workout preferences, workout durations, and health data, which is your weight, heart rate. You can gather this information either using through your own fitness app or integrating with different data sources, which is Fitbit, 3P, Apple Health, and other signals in the industry which are capturing the similar information. Then, for this fitness app, you start by using a decision tree to recommend workouts based on the factors like user goals. Weight loss can be an example, building muscle can be an example, and other preferences. You gather more data, then you can switch to more advanced models like reinforced learning to dynamically adjust based on the user feedback. For example, upon reviewing the feedback, you find that the workout intensity that your model was recommending to a particular persona was not that personalized or is not creating that amount of user adoption that you actually thought it will. An example for, say, it is actually suggesting more HIIT training workouts to the user, but only few users are adopting it. Now, try to refine the AI model to consider data signals like user fatigue or health goals, and then adjust back the workout recommendations accordingly. This way, you can create a more catered experience, which helps to cater to a diversified set of users. Now, lastly, once the personalized fitness coach app is working well, how can you scale from a cohort of users to maybe 1 million subscribers, right? So you build those architecture that actually can help with your production capabilities. And lastly, as AI and fitness apps develop different technologies, you can start by thinking about different ways of launching new features. such as you can use real-time form correction using computer vision, maybe through your cameras, to recommend a better form for the workouts. Or you can use AI-driven nutrition plans based on your user health data. So this is how you think and build 0 to 1 AI products. Now I'll share some personal insights. Let's start with watching one of my products that I worked on called Amazon One.
This is Zoe. Just like you, she uses lots of different cards and IDs to get through her day. What if all Zoe needed was herself? Introducing Amazon One, a free service that lets you use your palm to quickly pay for things, gain access, earn rewards, and more. Let's say you're grabbing your favorite coffee beverage, or heading into the office, or checking out. Just hover your palm and you're on your way. It's as easy as that. Sign up is free and takes less than a minute. All you need is a credit card, your phone number, and your palm. That's it. Since your palm is unique and can't be lost or misplaced, you can get things done quickly and securely. And with more experiences on the way, Amazon One will help you get even more done, simply by being you. Now, Zoe has more time to do what she loves: indoor skydiving. Enter, identify, and pay with Amazon One.
Now, a few years ago, I could never imagine that we would use AI to create something as secure as Amazon One. The challenge was clear in front of us that we had no palm data. So to train our deep network. So what we did in that case was, rather than waiting years to collect that data, we actually used generative AI to create millions of synthetic hands, each with unique capabilities, while preserving identity. As a result of that, we were able to build a deep network which actually had much better industry standards than any other biometrics recognition used. I think our product worked 100 times better than the iris scans and maybe 1,000 times better than facial recognitions. Now, when I think about it, I realize that AI doesn't actually just optimize, it breaks barriers. It helps us to build product and technologies which were nearly impossible a few years back. Now, which helps me to talk about the next chapter, which is how to build user-centric AI products. Now, in this, I want to cover the empathy part of the users. Human-in-loop AI design. This is a very common practice that you might have seen with autonomous vehicles. How many of you might have seen Waymo, those Jaguars, which actually has a physical driver driving all around the city? Or if you are in Seattle, you might have seen Zoox doing the same things to actually bring that human driver in loop to intervene in case AI encounters an unusual and unsafe behavior. So this is one practice that you can use to actually build user empathy with your AI automation. The second one is explainability and trust in AI. For example, an healthcare app which recommends a particular treatment to a user. A user would want to know that why that particular recommendation was made, whether it's based on his medical history or her medical history, age, or some other factors. Now, a lot of times this can be done with the help of visual aids or very simple examples like tooltips, where you can hover over that information icon, which can help you understand a little bit more about that tech behind and how AI is making that decision. Now that's where you earn customer trust, and it goes a long way in your adoption process. Now let's talk about the third aspect, which is the ethical AI. Ethical AI refers to the development and deployment of AI systems in a way that it prioritizes fairness, accountability, and transparency. Now I'll take an example. For example, you have built a product which does facial recognitions and it's a smart camera. Now it's also important to ensure that your AI characterizes the subject based on their skin tone to ensure that all users are treated fairly. I'll give you a small example. Now this camera is being used for a law enforcement AI system, which actually uses the recognition to identify suspects. In this case, it's very important for us to make sure that your AI actually takes care of different parameters of how it perceives the world. All right, now let me share about the similar personal insights where I was very delighted about a very user empathy or a user-centric product. So last year during Salesforce or Dreamforce conference, I got a chance to meet with some people from Meta and talk about Advantage Plus as one of their products. I'll try to demonstrate with the help of a simple example of what this product does and why I really love the user-centric part of it. Suppose you're a local baker in, suppose, say, Kennedy Space Center in Florida. All you do is your specialization is to make astronaut cakes, for example, right? However, you don't have money to reach this as a service to a mass audience because, or in a very competitive market, the players like Paris Baguette, which has 200 more locations, is winning over the competition. Now, what this tool practically does is it helps you create those campaigns within 5 minutes. So as a baker, now I don't have to worry about what to put as a content. It customizes and selects the best picture. Sometimes it curates the best picture for me. It finds the target audience for me. It optimizes the reach. After it optimizes the reach, it actually has ways to integrate the same product into a shopping platform, which is Instagram shops, Facebook shops, to actually drive these leads into orders with the help of maybe WhatsApp business or Messenger. On top of all of this, what it does is it also helps that baker to manage its day-to-day operations with the help of a chatbot used in Messenger or WhatsApp to greet the customers and optimize through different capabilities. For example, managing your throughput, taking the number of orders, accordingly, the amount of cakes you can bake in a particular given day. Or it helps your customer support service and helps you reach that customer experience. Now, this is how you use AI to build a more user-centric product where you're not just worried about solving a niche pain point, but you're taking care of the entire customer journey to solve a problem. Now, I'll summarize my key takeaways throughout this webinar. First is to deeply understand your user problem. AI solves this problem and how it actually works. Understand how AI within your organization works. Do you have capabilities of using reinforced learning? Is your AI within the organization more computer vision focused or more machine learning algorithms focused? Having that knowledge is very important. Then keeping users in mind when you're solving the problem, because you don't want to just adopt a very successful product, build Gen AI on top of it or any AI use case on top of it and think that it will also perform better as your product earlier did. Maybe it may not solve the same niche use case. And lastly, is the mechanism to adopt. As I shared earlier, AI product development is not a one-time MLP launch. It is an iterative journey to continue building your P1s, P2s, P3s of the world to reach that point where you can actually say that your model with high confidence is recommending stuff which actually helps users. Now, lastly, coming to the bonus chapter. You might have seen this funny logo all across my presentation. Now, what is product sauce? If you like the examples that I've used to demonstrate my understanding of how AI works, I'm launching a similar community which actually talks about different use cases of product management. So if you want to join that, please feel free to follow me on this particular product sauce community. You can scan this QR code. And there are a lot of good learnings and real life product management examples which are coming to help you understand how to build these products internally within your organization, and also as product leaders, how you can launch this ethically and responsibly to scale a mass audience. Lastly, I want to take this opportunity to thank Product School for helping me reach out to these audience and share my views on how to build products that strive in the age of AI. Thank you, everyone. If you want to learn and connect more, please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. This is my actual profile picture. Or if you want to talk about building your own careers at Amazon or different other companies, I'm happy to help. So thank you again, and I look forward to talking to you next time.